everybody. I'm Phillip Blume of Blume Photography, and welcome to the May issue, the wedding issue of Shutter Magazine. This is always an exciting issue for us. Eileen and I are primarily wedding photographers, shooting weddings all over the world. And if you've just read my article, it's essentially my entry to ethnic weddings for white boys is the way I think about it. And thankfully I have Eileen, who's Filipina, and we have that cultural side of our family and a different experience. And having traveled in so many different countries and lived in other countries, I think I've really come to appreciate that the cultural challenges and the differences of point of view that we sometimes run into with clients of a different ethnicity or different culture. I always just keep in mind that it's nothing personal, and understanding that culture and adapting to it is our job as photographers and as servants to our couples and the role we play. So I know the big question that came up that I didn't address in the article, which is probably the first question that many of us have, is how do we go about booking many of these ethnic weddings, especially when it comes to the bargaining and the wheeling and dealing that is part of the economic culture of many of the people groups who will be photographing. And that's one of the most common complaints and frustrations that I hear from photographers. A couple photographer friends of mine have shared stories where they were ashamed of themselves, but they had families come into their studio, and after the consultation had dragged on and the parties had gone back and forth about we want this and we want this discount and so forth, they finally just yelled and shouted and sent the potential clients out of their studio because they couldn't deal with it anymore. And sometimes I've felt that frustration, so I can relate. It's similar if I'm in England and photographing just my family on vacation. It's interesting culturally. You'll get people in the background who will come up to you in public and say, I want you to delete that picture because I might have stepped into the background. And I even had one gentleman tell me, I didn't ask you to take my picture. And I still don't get over that, my shock, because I think you're in England. You're under constant CCTV surveillance by the nanny state. Being in the background of my family snapshot is the least of your worries. Or if we're in Central America doing humanitarian work, I still get a little hot under the collar when someone who I'm photographing to try to help their people, doing pro bono work to try to help them, and they'll cover their faces. They won't allow me to take a picture until I paid them for it. And that's just part of the culture. It's part of the economy, and you just adapt to that. And in the case of booking weddings, I found that it's extremely important to realize the differences and work with them. So I want to give you a couple tips on that. First, just be ready for some of these phrases that might be thrown at you. When I first been in touch with a potential client, sometimes I've had them say to me, after hearing the price, why are you trying to cheat me? Why are you trying to rip me off? These kinds of claims that, in our culture, we're inclined to just be taken aback and defend ourselves. I'm not trying to do that, But really, these are just phrases that they're translating into English sometimes the best they can if they're speaking another language as their heart language. And it's what they use all the time in negotiations, and it's nothing personal. So rather than that reaction, I would encourage you to just remind anyone who's trying to bargain on a price that, first of all, I admit we're not the cheapest photographers in town, and I always use that term cheapest as opposed to saying we're not the least expensive, because really you're reminding your client they don't want cheap. They really do want quality. So you can tell them, I'm not the cheapest photographer in town, but we do like to think that we honestly provide the best experience and the highest quality products and artwork that you can get. So just remind them, a lot of these cultures, like ours in certain respects, really also appreciate quality. Many of these cultures appreciate quality and artistic expression even more so than we do here in the States, where commercialism kind of reigns. So just appeal to that. Let them know that you're going to work extremely hard on their wedding, and you will. A lot of these cultural weddings will have higher demands. Even after you think you've fulfilled all your obligations, you may be asked to do more, and just honor them and do that. Also, I was going to make a note here. when you're asked to bargain, you do have to always already know where you're going with this bargaining. You can't just give whatever is asked of you, or else you will not make any money. You won't be able to support your business on cultural weddings. Even if you're not doing many cultural weddings, the ones you do will drain you if you give in to every demand. So you also want to remind a couple from another culture, just as you would any of your Western weddings, your white boy weddings, that here is what you're getting, and you can actually just make sure that your a la carte menu always lists everything that you offer, from how much an additional hour of coverage costs. Every item should be on your menu, and anything you offer should be on that menu. And then you'll be able to lay it out in front of them and say, so this is what our clients generally receive, and this is the price that is generally sold to them at. But we're giving you all these extra hours. Maybe it's a multi-day wedding. We want you to see. And you can even just be very open. We understand that culturally, it's normal to bargain and give some extra things. We just want to let you know that we're not really used to that, but we do want to honor you, and we have put some of these extra things in here, and here's what they're valued at. And really just showing that respect, that honesty, so you're their trusted advisor, will really take you a long way. We've had couples who have, even though we've presented ourselves that way, have pulled out and said we're going to find another photographer, and then they have actually come back to us maybe a month later and said that even after that time, I don't know if they were testing us in the time waiting, but they had looked at other photographers and were more pleased with our honesty and openness and what we showed them. So sometimes they'll book you right on the spot, as long as you put everything on the table that way. So just calmly doing that, honoring your client, and having pull-throughs that you can use, whether it's offering additional hours, which I strongly recommend even with long weddings, putting hour limits on there, showing the value of those. And then if you add extra hours for free, then that is your pull-through, rather than just saying we'll do unlimited coverage for you. Or additional pages maybe in their wedding book later, because a lot of these weddings, the larger ones, will require a lot of extra pictures in their book. So that's the kind of thing that you can give that's of high value to them, but without bankrupting yourself. And I hope that gets you started, you guys. As far as finding your way into these markets, it's often just a friend that may be from another culture than yourself, maybe doing a shoot for them to build some portfolio. If you want to do a styled shoot that way, those friends are also going to be invaluable to you when you're researching to do your weddings and things later on, asking them questions about the cultural traditions and preparing yourself to do a great job for your client. So start out that way, and I wish you all the best of luck. Feel free to reach out to us at blumephotography.com/photographers, and that'll get you into all of our other tips and tricks for photography in general and cultural weddings. So have a great one. We'll talk to you later. Hey, and I'm back because I forgot. I just wanted to show you guys, just as sort of an Exhibit A, Exhibit B, just a perk of working with people from other cultures than my own, has been just the generosity and the cultural experience that we've had through them. Just for example, these are gifts. Generally, our clients give us great feedback. We are great friends with all of our couples, but we don't usually get gifts from them as if we've done them a favor. I mean, we're getting paid for the work we do, and yet I just show you all these beautiful jewelry box, different things. This is a set of really high quality coasters that came with this gorgeously packaged tea set. We have framed artwork from a Chinese couple who we worked with. We didn't ask for these things. We didn't expect these things. But that's just part of the amazing generosity of some of these cultures that you're going to get to work with. And just remember that really human side of what we're doing, and just the relationships that you're able to build. And I hope that you'll find that same value in all the multicultural weddings that you get to shoot in the future.